What's up, YouTube? Today's video, we're gonna be discussing FHA loan requirements for 2021. It's your boy, Charles Jackson from Jackson Properties. I just wanted to tap in with y'all today, give y'all some free game, everything that you need to know to get qualified. But right now, I just had to vibe real quick. Woo! That's mosh. That's how I knew. But yeah, let's get back into this. I'm gonna be talking to y'all today from a standpoint of just giving y'all some knowledge and some game and some information. I've been doing real estate for a really long time, since I was 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a while. I got a lot of game. I've been to do a lot of things, got a lot of experiences and all of that. So I'm gonna share with y'all today. But today's video in particular, we're gonna be talking about FHA, the loan limits for California. I don't know other places, but I'm talking about California because that's where I'm at and that's where I'm from. So I'm gonna give y'all the game. Y'all comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the link. Let's get to it, baby. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the FHA loan limits for 2021. When I say loan limits, I'm talking about how much they will give you, how much money they will give you. You got to get financed, right? So how much money are they going to give you in order for you to buy the property? So with that being said, every year FHA changes their loan limit requirements. They have to keep up with the economy and everything like that, the houses, pricing and all of that stuff. So with that being said, for a single family, FHA will only loan you $822,375. So get that in your head. If you're thinking about buying a property that's 1.5, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy me my first house, man. I'm looking at a $1.5 million. You ain't gonna get it FHA. It's not gonna happen because they only gonna loan you $822,375 maximum, no more. That's the max they're gonna give you. So if you buy a house that's $850, then you're gonna have to put down the rest. But I mean, of course, you're gonna put down your 3.5% anyway. So that will take you up about to that amount. So whatever 3.5% is, minus that is gonna be the 822 is the most they'll give you. So if you buy a property that's lower than 800,000, you're fine, of course. But even if you buy one that's above, you just have to make sure that the down payment covers that portion, and the loan that you're requesting cannot be more than $822,375 for a single family, which is still great. I mean, if you wanted to go more than that, then you don't need FHA. You can go conventional or some other type of financing. But for your first property, single family, maximum amount, $822,375. Now let's get to the duplex. Now for a duplex, they'll give you a little more because they know that the pricing of duplexes are higher than single family. So with that being said, when you apply for a duplex, your maximum loan limit for a high cost area, which we're in California, Los Angeles, Orange County, all those areas are high cost areas. So for these particular areas, they're going to loan you $1,053,000 for a duplex. So with a duplex, you can go a little higher. And even if you go to a triplex and a fourplex, then the amount gets higher and higher the higher the property you go, because those properties are more valuable. They're more valuable, they have more units, they have more tenants, you can receive income along with your money that you're going to be paying for your mortgage. You will be receiving the income from the other units. So for me personally, I like to recommend my clients to buy a triplex or a fourplex for their first property, only because of the fact that this is the only chance that you can get to buy a multi-family property with a minimum down payment, 3.5%. If you try to buy a house first and then you go and buy you a triplex or fourplex next, you're gonna need 25% down, 20 to 30% down, in between 20 and 30 for sure, because you're buying it as an investment property. So when you're buying it as an investment property, the banks require you to put more money down because you're an investor. Simple as that. So it's a loop, it's a trick, not a trick, but it's in the requirements. It's part of the game. But this is how you get in the game for minimum money. We ain't trying to spend all our money up front, right? we want to hold on to a little bit of something. We got to hold on to some of that money. So in order for you to buy a multifamily property out the gate, 3.5% down, FHA, stick to the script, and you can do it. I did it. You can do it. It's not simple. It's not rocket science. It's just following the game, baby. That's all that's it. Now let's get into the triplex. The triplex is going to be a limit of $1,272,750. That's for a triplex. You can go all the way up to 1.2 with FHA 3.5%. That's minimum. That's nothing compared to 25% or 30% down if you're buying a triplex after you bought your single family house. It's a way to get in the game for low money. Buy your income property, live in one unit for a year, rent it out. Now you have a triplex or a fourplex or a duplex that you got with 3.5% down, and then you go buy a house. You can go buy a house the next year or whatever, and you still can come back with a minimum down payment, 5%, 3% for your house. But if you buy the house first, then you try to buy the triplex and fourplex, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg, baby. So come on, man. Come on, you got to think, champ. Got to think, baby. So that's the game right there. So for the triplex, you get $1,272,750. So anything above that, you come out of pocket. Part of that would be a down payment, and so forth and so on. Next property we're gonna go to is a fourplex. So a 4-unit building. You can purchase a 4-unit building FHA for $1,581,750 is the maximum loan amount they will give you. So when you're searching for these properties, you don't be looking at no $2, $3, $4 million property and you trying to go FHA. It's not gonna work. It don't make sense. You gotta stay within the FHA loan limit requirements. So for the fourplex, it's gonna be $1,581,750. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna qualify for that amount based on your income, right? And how much income is coming in from the building. That's gonna determine how much you qualify for based on your income and your debt. So if you have low debt, high income, you'll qualify for the max. If you got high income, high debt, it really doesn't matter if you got high income, if you got high debt. I mean, that's like it wipes each other out. So the key is to bring your debt down, keep your income at a good rate, and that way you can maximize your loan amount, maximize how much loan they'll give you. So that's the game. Keep your debt down, people. Keep your income up. Don't go out and get a whole bunch of credit cards and max them out. It's good to have them. Just keep the balances real low, under 20%. So if you got $1,000 on the card, don't spend no more than $200. Keep it at 100 or 150 or less. That's what I would say. That's going to show you're responsible. That's going to boost your credit. But that's a whole nother video. Right now, we're just going to do FHA loan amounts and requirements for FHA and what you can get. All right, y'all. So we talked about FHA down payment. We talked about the loan limits. We also talked about the credit score. But there's one other requirement for FHA that we need to discuss. When buying an FHA approved property and you're getting the FHA financing, the property that you're purchasing has to be owner occupied. You have to be buying it as your primary residence. If you're not buying it to live in, you cannot qualify for FHA. So with that being said, you're like, oh, but I'm buying a triplex. I'm buying it as an investment. True enough. You can be buying it as an investment property for the long term, but when you're purchasing it, you can't buy it as an investment property. It has to be owner occupied. So you have to be buying it as a primary residence. That's a difference. So when you're doing your loan application, you are going to put that you're buying this property as a primary residence. We know the long-term goal is an investment property, but out the gate is not. It's a primary residence. I'm going to live here. I'm buying this triplex to live here. I'm buying this fourplex to live here. After you live there for a certain amount of time that's required by FHA, then you can move out, rent it out. Now it's an investment property. After a year, After 1 year of living in the property, you can move out and turn it into an investment property. And you got away with the 3.5% down. Makes it so sweet. That's why I love this game right here. So that's one requirement that you must have is owner occupancy when buying an FHA. Make sure that's crucial. So make sure you're buying it primary residence. Also, when you're buying a FHA as your primary residence, there's certain requirements because FHA don't approve every property. FHA is a little bit more strict when it comes to the properties and the condition of the property and things of that nature. So when you're buying a single family house, if the house is in decent condition, there's no chip paint or wood or damage and tile crack, stuff like that, FHA will approve it. But if there are issues with the property, there's certain things that may have to be fixed before the loan can fund. So make sure you don't think you're going to go buy you a beat down fixer-upper with an FHA loan, because it's not going to happen. You cannot purchase FHA property, approved property that is ran down. It has to be in an FHA required approved state. Okay, so make sure the property is in decent condition, and we shouldn't have an issue with that. But when you're purchasing a single family, or if you're purchasing a condo, and more, I'm really want to talk about the condo. If all condos are not FHA approved, simple and plain. All condos are not FHA approved. You will know if the condo is approved by speaking with your realtor or whoever's representing you when purchasing that home. So if that building has not went through the FHA required approval process, then you cannot purchase a condo with the FHA loan in a facility or a complex that is not FHA approved. So some are, some aren't. There is a website that you can look on that has a list of certain condos that are approved. But when speaking with the realtor will know exactly if the condo is FHA approved or not. So that's another thing to look out for when buying a condo. Now let's talk about the PMI, because PMI is another requirement for FHA. When purchasing FHA, you're gonna have to have PMI attached to your loan. Now people say, what is PMI? That's private mortgage insurance. PMI is private mortgage insurance. So it's another payment on top of your payment, but it's all included in your monthly mortgage. But a lot of times people forget to include the PMI when buying FHA, because whenever you're putting less than 10 or 20% down, you're gonna have PMI, private mortgage insurance. So with that being said, you wanna factor that in whenever you're looking at your loan and how much your monthly payment is going to be, because you have your principal payment, your principal and interest, then you have your taxes and insurance, and then you also are going to have private mortgage insurance on top of that. And there's really no way to get out of that. The PMI stays on the FHA loan for the entire life of the loan. So when you purchase a FHA property and you have your PMI is going to stay on that property forever. And if you don't sell the property, or the only other way to get rid of it is to refinance out of the FHA and into a conventional loan once you have at least 20% equity. So if you bought a property for a certain number, 600,000 or whatever, and then it went up 20%, let's say it went up another 120,000 within a year or whatever, as far as your equity goes. Once you have at least 20% equity in your property, you can refinance the loan and get out of the FHA loan and into a conventional loan. So during that time, you should work on your credit, get your credit scores up, and just try to keep your debt down during that time as well. So that way, when it's time to refinance and you have the 20% equity, you could go ahead and refinance out of the FHA and into a conventional, which will then allow you to get rid of the PMI. So take that. It's going to lower your payment substantially. Last year I purchased a triplex, right? And this year I refinanced it, and the payment is dropped $900 and almost $1,000. That's how much the PMI was on my payment, but also I got a lower rate. So factoring in the lower rate and the PMI, it knocked my payment down $1,000. I grew 20% equity in 1 year. So can't go wrong with that. So I'm not just telling you something, I'm telling you something that I've done personally, something that I have, went through myself. So you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. Make sure that you keep your credit intact, keep your job, keep your income up, keep your debt down. So when you get the 20% equity, you can refinance, lower your monthly payment. And then once you get out of the FHA, here's the thing. I'm gonna give you some free game. Once you get out of FHA, you have a conventional loan. It's been over a year. You moved out. Now you need a place to stay. Guess what you're gonna do? Repeat. Buy another FHA. Repeat. Owner occupied. Another property, triplex, fourplex. This is how you build up your portfolio, people. I'm gonna give you the game. This is how you build it up. So then you take it and you do it again, man. That's the game. You repeat. You buy. You renovate if you need to. You rent it out, refinance, repeat, man. That's the game, okay? So you do it again, and you do it again, and you keep doing it. But that's just a little tip that I wanted to give y'all. So the next thing that we're gonna talk about, debt to income ratio. That's your DTI. So when dealing with FHA, they have the most flexible debt to income ratio than any other financing that's out there. So what is DTI? It's your debt versus your income. So they don't want your debt on paper to be more than 43% of your income. So 43% debt to income ratio is what FHA requires you to have. And I've seen it. FHA is pretty flexible because I've seen it go as high as at least 55, 56. I've seen it and it's still closed. So, but they say they want to, on the requirement is 43%, but FHA is flexible. So when doing your numbers, try to keep it at least 45% or 50% of your DTI for your debt to income ratio. But when it comes to that, I wouldn't want you trying to calculate that yourself. I would say to get in touch with a mortgage professional and let them help you with that. If you don't have a mortgage professional that you use, I would love to refer you to some of my trusted partners that I use. I don't get anything from it, but all I do get is to know that you're in good hands, and that's what matters to me. Making sure that you're in good hands, make sure that you're well taken care of. But make sure that the DTI is at least 43%, 45%. If you're around that range, you're golden. So try to keep your debt less than half of your income. So if you're bringing in 20K a month, you don't want your debt to be 10. You want it to try to keep it below, below that amount. If you're bringing in 10K, try to make sure your debt is about 4 or less. So that's the goal right there with FHA and the DTI. The next thing that FHA requires is steady income. One other thing that FHA requires is steady income. FHA wants you to be in the same line of work for at least 2 years. So they're big on you being consistent and in the same line of work for at least 2 years. Same line of work, meaning that if you were a nurse and then you got another position in the hospital or, whatever the case may be, you just stayed in that same field. If you were working at a restaurant and then you were a waiter, then you went to a cook or a chef, but you're still in the same line of work, that's fine. But the opposite would be if you were a real estate agent, then you went and became a contractor, then you became a truck driver, and then you became FHA is not going to allow you to not be in the same line of work for at least 2 years. So whatever you're doing, in order to qualify for FHA, make sure you're in the same line of work for at least 2 years consistent. If you're consistent in that line of work, then that's fine. And if you have gaps in your employment, like say, for instance, maybe you took a break or you left one job and was transferring to another job, but it's still the same line of work, but you just got a new position at a different company or whatever the case may be, it's okay to have small gaps, but you don't want to have large gaps of employment because FHA, you don't want to show those gaps and it affects that income because it needs to be steady, because you can't use unemployment as a source of income. So if you took 4 or 5 months off, but you got unemployment, they're not going to count the unemployment. So make sure that you don't have large gaps. You're in the same line of work for at least 2 years. And if you do switch positions, it's okay if your income went up. You took another job and you got higher pay. We like to go get the money. So if you got higher pay from another job, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not gonna say don't, but you don't want to take a position where you're getting lower pay or your income started up here, started at the top, now it's headed towards the bottom. That ain't a good look. So you want to make sure that if you are switching jobs and anything of that nature, that you're increasing your pay, increasing your monthly income, your yearly, annual income, or whatever the case may be. But with that being said, 2 years, steady income, and you should be fine. So with that being said, man, I hope that this video was educational. I hope you learned something from it. And if so, hit the like button, share it, comment, subscribe to the channel. The Jacksons, man, we got a lot of things coming. This real estate market is very competitive right now, so I want you guys to have an edge. If you need any assistance, and if you're in Los Angeles or if you're anywhere else, tap in with Jackson Properties. We'd love to help you. And if you need any financing, we got great partners that we work with that make sure that you're in great hands. So with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one. Jackson Properties, we are out of here.